Shri Rajat Ganguly ji, Senior Vice President Sales, PradigmIT Cyber Division, for industry presentation on challenging landscape of cybersecurity. Can we have a big round of applause for him as well? Thank you so much. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. 4,000 to 5,000 new cyber attacks every day. Please mind the statistics. New cyber attacks every day. Yesterday, I just looked upon the threats that were generated. 510 million in one single day. The threats that were intercepted, some were addressed, some were not. And the target is all across. So thank you. It's a privilege. It's an honor to be here with such luminaries as in the audience, which kind of stretches my technical know-how as a salesperson. And I'm sorry to say I'm the imp from underworld to bring the bad news in a session which was very rosy. We're giving, good pictures, strong, to-go things, what to do and what not to do and all those. But what I'm dwelling on mainly are the negatives. And what I'm leaving the thought with you is, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't look at that, if you don't pay heed to it, what it would do is, it has the capacity of derailing your entire journey. All the good work that you have put up would be derailed at an instant, and God knows what the end result would be. Yeah. So, Rajat Ganguly, I take care of sales. PradigmIT is an Indian company. I head the sales of cyber division. We are based out of Hyderabad. We have products and solutions which are made in India. And definitely I would request you to give us an opportunity to kind of come and present, to do POCs about what we do and our capabilities. So let me give you the landscape about how things are, what exactly is happening. And I would also like to bring some bit of anecdotes, because a lot was said. Lieutenant General was there who kind of started the conversation about few attacks that has happened. Thanks to Mohit, I'm just taking it from him. So much has not changed as far as the detrimental effects of attacks that bring to the table, right? We had firewall, we still do. We have next generation firewall, but the one big problem with firewall is extremely good in analyzing traffic which is coming inward, right? And it works on policies which have to be manually filled in. So that means there is human intervention. And we all know in the days of AI, ML and deep learning and all that, if there is human intervention, the chances of missing or the chances of human error goes up. So there is a common, kind of, again, a joke in cybersecurity world. What they say is cybersecurity and mother-in-laws are inevitables. So you cannot prevent them, that will happen and you have to bear with it. Sorry ladies, I'm just kind of cracking a bad joke, but that's how it's like, within quotes that I said. So since those are inevitables and there are human interventions, the effectiveness that a firewall brings to the table at times is challenged, right? Firewall doesn't do one thing which again is a huge concern these days, which is monitor outbound traffic. Now just imagine a situation, I'm a fantastic hacker with extremely high skills. I kind of do something bad, I breach your systems with all technical abilities, and then I create a tunnel back to the site that I want to be kind of disturbed or whatever. I bypass the firewall completely. Now why typically a firewall doesn't do? Because inbound, outbound traffic, if you are to put it through a firewall, the utilization will shoot up and there will be a huge delay. It will be as high as something like 70% to 80%, right? So firewall is not the answer. It is not the elixir of all the problems. At that point of time when firewalls were introduced, there was something as IDS, which is intrusion detection system. What it did? Whole lot of false positives, right? Giving warning, this may happen, that may happen. What exactly happened, I don't know. So it was shunted off. Then came IPS. IPS again, like firewall, was an inline device. So everything has to go through the IPS. What did IPS do? It prevented certain attacks, at least from happening. How did it do it? It laid out SNMP traps and all those things, right? But again, certain policies which has to be put in, like with the people who are the CISOs or people who are knowledgeable and technical as far as the cybersecurity or IT security domain is concerned. Is it effective? No. And it was found out that it's not effective. Then you have whole lot of attacks that started happening. So if I may just bring it down in a layman's term, why do these happen? What are the three basics? Can we just break it up into three basics that why attacks happen, or what are the kind of premises on which happens? So number one is people want to steal your data. Why? So that I can hold you at ransom and make denial of service to you and extract some money from you, and invariably those monies are in Bitcoin, so that there is no trace. I don't know how to kind of trace it back, and I gain money, and it's a financial benefit. And those are why the ransomware attacks are happening. And by the way, ransomware attacks are like, as I told you, the figure 4,000 every day, new ransomware attacks. One anecdote: during COVID times, there were two government municipal bodies which were hosted in a public cloud. One was an Indian cloud, the other was a hyperscaler. Both of them had a severe ransomware attack. Severe. Okay. So anyway, so that happens. What is the next? The next is I impersonate someone, which is extremely dangerous. So what do I do? So people, even now, people say that, why cyber security? Why do I invest? I have a firewall, acha hai na, chalta hai yaar. Because, see, IT has to go and answer to the CFO, who ultimately gives the money. So CFO will ask a basic, simple question: what is the return on investment? There is no return on investment when it comes to IT security. It is like, when it happens, you will get tremendous benefit. Till it happens, there is no benefit. I don't bring anything concrete and tangible on the table so that I can go back to CFO and say that this is what I did. Nothing. Right? So again, it's a very challenging scenario. So people at times, they come back, and when we go for a cold call, people say, see, I don't have that serious data which will be hacked and I'll be in soup and all that. I have nothing to protect. So please don't disturb me. But you are missing the second point. What is the second point I said? I impersonate you. Again, an anecdote. One of the battery manufacturers in India, big one, suddenly gave a call, and they say that there was an IP packet which is getting generated, which is sending out obnoxious emails to Department of Defense in US. And Madam Hillary Clinton was the secretary at that point in time. It was directed towards her. So someone kind of took control of things in that battery manufacturer and was impersonating as the battery manufacturer and using it to launch their attack, which is actually a very lousy kind of attacks. Those stupid attacks don't happen these days, but there are stupid people who do it. Even now people come, especially from our neighboring land, who just comes and defaces our website and goes off, right? The third one is extremely dangerous, and that's where things like quantum and all comes in handy, which is again a recent kind of, these are supposed to be the good things to help us, but you can also use this to do a lot of harmful things. That is state-run attacks. So there is a small country which is extremely cold. Their number one job is to earn revenue in bitcoins for their imperial majesty, and do all those stupid things, because there is no other means to earn. They are under severe sanctions. So what they do, they do a lot of body shopping of workers to their neighboring lands. They earn money, but the most important is ransomware attacks, and they earn millions and millions of dollars. Then there is a neighboring country again of ours who does a lot of unholy things which at times we don't even know. Again, an anecdote. I got a call from one of the education institutes of national importance. They apparently had an SP from cyber division go and visit them. Why? Because someone in Delhi, some agency in Delhi picked up that there is again a packet that is getting transacted from that education institute to somewhere in China. which is dangerous, right? Now, it doesn't stop there. What is more dangerous is the education institute has no clue what is happening. They couldn't even trace the IP address. The firewall logs did not find anything where they can go and trace where the attack was happening, what were the packets, nothing. So my question was, sir, what did you do? They said, I don't know, I don't have the resources to do anything. Now just imagine, if the second time something like this happens and someone from Delhi comes, some heads will roll and someone is invariably going to be questioned by some very serious looking hard nut people, which will not be pleasant for the education institute. So all these are happening, right? So IPS, IDS, firewall, IAM, which is identity access management. But sadly, like the way we are coming up with the antidotes, but the way the attacks and everything are increasing, especially with the state-sponsored ones, we are not able or we are unable to keep pace. And to make matter worse, rub salt on the injury, is we have things like IoT. Again, an anecdote, there was an ethical hacker which actually showed a hardware manufacturer that I can breach your system through your IP phone, which was never heard of. Even that company had no clue how it happened, and then they kind of, ran to make changes. Now just imagine if I am a state-run sponsors of criminal activities and I have access to quantum computing. So what is quantum computing? I use quantum mechanics to kind of super fasten up the process. And I use a quantum computer just with the sole purpose of breaking passwords and trying to breach. Would I be successful? Yes, invariably. With all money and everything, even solution from us will not be able to prevent that. So what do you do in a scenario like this? It's something like when someone tries to ride a bicycle, you're going to fall, right? If you don't fall, then you are not learning. You would fall. So the question is, what do you do after that? So when something like that happens, these days what we have as a solution is, and I think I saw Mohit was also hinting at that, you do lockdown. You do quarantine so that it doesn't promulgate, it doesn't kind of explodes in your network, causing more harm and bringing your entire organization down on your knees, right? So these are the threats which is making it very interesting. The most important is lack of skills. There is a huge skill gap. And I'll come to that when I go to my next slide. So this is basically what we are. I'm not going to dwell too much on this. We have the certifications, we are growing, but the fun fact is, since I have a made in India product, I own the APIs, I am more than willing to work with you and work with your other vendors. So something, an example, and Mishra sir, you would love to hear this. So what can happen is, say suppose I do an audit, I do a gap assessment, right? I find out, okay, these are the vulnerabilities. Now the question is, you have existing solutions because everyone has that, right? It will be very stupid of me to come and say, no, sir, aap pura change kar do. Nahi karoge. It's not feasible. It's not commercially feasible. If I then come back and say, okay, sir, I will work with your antivirus vendor, I would work with your existing endpoint security provider and make changes and give the inputs from the survey or the audit I did so that they can make the change. Right? So that's the advantage that I bring to the table. Am I the only one? No, I'm not the only one, but I have the flexibility since I'm here in India and my development team is here sitting in Hyderabad. So what basically we do is, we can also, so we all have heard about, gap assessment. These are all mundane stuff, right? VAPT, which is vulnerability assessment and threat prevention. So all those things are mundane. Something that sets us apart and what I can do for you is I can do an audit of dark web. So dark web doesn't figure out in Google. So since it doesn't figure out in Google, there is no signature, there is no behavior, nothing. So how do you analyze where someone is actually accessing dark web from your network, which is not allowed to do? Maybe he's using his official credentials to do it, because something happens, his official credential will be blocked and it will come with cyber crimes, maybe Interpol or whatever. It doesn't blame me. I'll leave my job, I'll quit my job and hide somewhere else. So that monitoring and that audit is extremely important. Number two, I also audit the security posture of the applications that you have. It may be a branded software, a branded application that someone has prepared for you. It may be homegrown, right? So I can do that audit also, and I can give you a report that, okay, under the parlance, how does it figure out? Are you following the best practices or you are not following the best practices? It can be something interesting that, okay, so by the way, my daughter studies here. I went to the college. They said, sad to say, we just ordered some thousands and thousands of endpoints for you. I said, fantastic. He was surprised. Are you a salesman or you are not a salesman? I said, no, sir, it is fantastic. Why? Now it gives me the opportunity to come and do an audit. So you have deployed, just 2 more minutes. So you have deployed your endpoints. I will do an audit and I'll give you a report that are they doing the right job or you still have holes. If you have holes, you need to plug them, right? And so the upper 3 are the audit and everything that we do. It comes as a service. And again, it is done by a team who is sitting in India, Hyderabad. And the lower 3 are the products that we have. Right? One is endpoint with different, so I can use my endpoint to do an asset tracking and asset monitoring. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, I don't care the version of Microsoft. Why? Because my product, which is extremely light, something like 10 to 12 MB, which is lighter than most of the games that you download on your phone, sits at the kernel level. So since it sits at the kernel level, which is like next to hardware, I can do a lot of stuff which my competition cannot do. Correct? So with that, I can give you the exact status of the device where the product is deployed. And I am not bound by, even if it is Windows 7, NT, products or softwares that are not managed by Microsoft, I can very well manage that. In another 20 days, I would come with the Linux version. The roadmap, I will come with Android and iOS version. There was a huge attack that happened with Android very recently, right? Along with this, I also have a training arm. So as I said, training is a concern. Manpower, critical manpower, knowing cybersecurity is rare these days. So I can help you create a team and build your team. So that's all that I have for you. These are some of our customers. Indian Navy, Delhi Police, and this is my contact, this is my email. So please be in touch. We would love to take it forward and engage. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. I would like to request Shri Rajat ji to kindly stay back. Next, I would like to request Shri S. Arunaraj ji to kindly come and join us on the dais to felicitate Rajat ji for his amazing presentation. Can we have a big round of applause for this gentleman presenting it so well? Thank you, sir. Thank you for coming and joining and sparing your valuable time with us.